Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this presentation by MPower Financing. My name is Daniel Terry, and I'm the Content and Marketing Specialist with Catalyst GEM. With me here is Tamika Gibson, our International Enrollment Manager at Catalyst GEM, who will be hosting the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Our special guest today is Arbaz Hashmi with MPower Financing. Now, prior to being an international student himself in the US, he spent the last 10 years in partnerships being an adjunct professor and community builder. In his role at MPower Financing, he's managed partnerships and enabled thousands of international student experiences in the US and Canada. So now I'll go ahead and pass it over to Arbaz for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for that introduction. Before I begin, I want to thank the Catalyst GEM team, Daniel, Paul, Tamiko, for having me here. I really, truly appreciate the work that we're doing together as an organization. And I'm looking forward to the next 60 minutes, maybe having some good conversations with international students, right? And a very good morning to everybody who's joining us today from around the world. Good morning, good evening, whatever works. I have planned 25 to 30 minutes for this session. What I meant was when this is that we're going to cover a little bit about MPower in the first 25 minutes. And then we could talk a little bit about why you should pick MPower as a funding option, why it makes sense to go for an MPower loan. We also would cover a little bit about the student support that we offer beyond financing to help international students succeed in North America. And then lastly, we're going to cover the last 30 minutes of the session in the form of Q&A, right? I encourage all the students to keep entering question and answers questions in the Q&A tab, and the team would be looking at it. And at the Q&A round, it's best to park your question right there. Then if you know exactly what you need to ask, and we'd be picked up during the Q&A, right? Let's deep dive into a little bit about why MPower was formed, in fact. This was in 2014, and it was formed by 2 international students. The idea was at that time that funding options for international students were very limited, were very family focused, and instead of being student focused actually, and they require more than just a good admit letter, more than just getting admit into a good university to actually offer a funding option, right? This was very regressive. This was something that was actually creating a selection bias, and something that our founders thought needs to be changed. They truly believe education should have been borderless, and because of that, they created a loan product that was very student focused and complete online, can be accessed all around the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that aspect of the MPower loan in as we go in the presentation. But let's first talk about the problems that international students face. If you have already started looking for funding options, you know that the problems you would face. If you haven't, let me give you a quick download of it. Well, traditionally, if you go for an international student funding, if getting funds for your higher education in the US or Canada, traditional banks or lenders would ask you for either a collateral or a cosigner or both. Now, these two are extremely important and are legally bound on your loan, which means that if there is a repayment default or if there's any issue with the repayment, the bank can actually take action against these two aspects. A collateral is a property, a house, a shop, an office, a building. Co-signer is an individual, a family member who needs to come onto the loan as a legally bound person who is liable to pay the loan if you don't, which is not a bad thing, but technically not all international students have access to these two things. Not every international student would have a co-signer with a good financial standing who can actually be a part of the loan application. And at the same time, not everybody has a property parked somewhere which could be used as a collateral too, right? And that's exactly why MPower was created, to offer a loan that did not require a collateral, did not require a cosigner, or even did not require a credit history for that matter, right? We fund loans in about 400 schools, and we offer a 10-year term that is after your education program ends. We fund up to $100,000 in loan amount that covers tuition, housing, meals, anything the school could invoice you on. And it's a complete online process, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about this as well. There's no prepayment penalty for the loan that you want to close. So if you take a loan today of $80,000 and the next 2 months you want to pay off everything and just be done with the loan, you can totally do that. That's not an issue with us. We wouldn't penalize you on trying to close your loan earlier. We fund all degrees. We're not really limited to, we're not picky and nitty-picky about the programs that we want to fund. So if the university is within our list, we would fund all degree seeking programs within that university, right? We offer free visa support letters for anybody who wishes to use that for their I-20 or for their visa application anytime. And in fact, a lot of the other lenders out there would charge some upfront fees on this visa support letter as well. They want to lock you down in the sense that, okay, if you've offered you a visa support letter, they don't really want to, they don't want you to go anywhere else as well. Whereas we offer a free visa support letter. As soon as the loan is approved, you will get a support letter that could be used for any of the documentation process ahead, right? We would be disbursing directly to the school, which is a very big advantage, and we'll cover that in the later half of the presentation as well. What it means is that we fund in the currency of the school. So you don't really have to worry about the calculation of how many dollars do you need, and then convert that into an equivalent amount in your currency, and then hope and pray that the currency doesn't depreciate by the time you actually have to need the loan after getting an approval. Because that's what happened with me. When I was coming for an education, I got a loan approved for a certain amount, and by the time I had to use it, the currency had depreciated by a bit that the loan amount was a lot less in the dollar amount as it was in the rupees, right? So that is one aspect that you need not worry about it. And we'll talk, like I said, a little bit in the later half of the presentation about all those aspects, right? Now, this is an MPower loan. This is, in a nutshell, what MPower loan is all about. But who can apply to an MPower loan, right? We only have 3 criteria that we offered for any student to apply for an international loan, for an MPower loan. 1, you need to be attending or accepted or enrolled an MPower school. You can totally check out the list of the schools. It's on the website. I think there are about 423 schools as of now. You need to be within 2 years of graduation. What it means is that you need to, from the time that you need the loan, you need to be 2 years from graduation. So if you're applying today, but you need the loan in August, you need to be within 2 years of graduation from August, right? And essentially, for a 2-year master's program, it works perfectly because a 2-year master program is well within this criteria, so you can get funded for the entire duration of the program. However, when it comes to an undergrad program or a 3-year graduate program, we can only fund the last 2 years of their education, right? And you need to be pursuing a degree-seeking program, and no choice of the major at all. Like there's no selection on that. We can only go for a particular major or only for STEM applications or an MBA or a master's. We fund everything from computer science to theater. In fact, we did fund someone for Juilliard as well. She's a very good Pakistani singer. It was a couple of years back, but it was a very big story. She was the first person to be accepted from Pakistan in Juilliard. And we totally covered it. We wanted to be someone who enabled that experience, and we really went after that. So not only people who are seeking traditional degree options in computer science or MBA or engineering, but other options are also welcome. And in fact, we celebrate that kind of a diversity as well, right? In a nutshell, if I have to explain this slide in a statement, this is how I will do that. Any eligible student who wants to apply for an MPower loan must be within 2 years of graduation and are applying, accepted or enrolled, any of the 3, to pursue any degree at one of our 400 plus partner universities in North America, right? If you fulfill all these 3 criteria, you're totally eligible for an MPower loan. If you're not sure, please go to our website and try checking your eligibility. We'll talk a little bit about the process as well, and would enable that for you as well. And with that loan product, it's not really surprised that students do talk a little bit about us, and they want to appreciate the effort and the help that we gave them with the experience that we enable for them. And you don't really have to go through all the reviews to read. I can quickly take explain exactly why the students say that in just 3 simple slides. We are unique. Our loan product is unique, and I can prove that to you. We are better, we are easier, and we are cost effective. And I'll talk a little bit about how we are better. First of all, our loan product, as I mentioned, does not require a collateral, co-signer, guarantor, co-applicant, whatever you want to call it. And we do not require a CIBIL, if that's a credit score in India, or any credit history for that matter from your home country as well. If you have one, we'll look into it. If you don't have one, it's totally good with us. That's all right if you didn't take a loan so far. We do not have any restrictions on the expenses that you can cover for your education in the US. Any expense that you can think of that school can invoice you, living, meals, computer lab, library, any expense that you need to cover can be covered using our loan. And we offer resume and career services, visa support services that go beyond our financing help that we want to offer to our students as well, making us one of the most comprehensive lending options out there. How we are easier. We offer our online process is completely application process requires a very simple three-step process, which we have divided into 30-33, a combination. You only need 30 seconds to check your eligibility. You need 30 minutes to fill in that application. And we would take about 3 days for an initial decision on that application as well. We do not require many documents for our application process, simple ones, and you would already know exactly what documents to upload because it would be shown on your dashboard. You just need to upload it that corresponding place and be done with it. And our customer relations team is always there to help you out if you get stuck in any of the process and you need some help and assistance to get through for that. And as I mentioned, it's a complete online process, which means that anyone around the world can access that. We fund citizens of up to 200 countries through our MPower loans. So pretty much anywhere you can think of, you can apply for an MPower loan from. That should not be a problem if wherever you are located, in which country you are located, right? And lastly, and the most important, how we are cost effective, right? Firstly, we offer a fixed interest term. It's a really important reason to at least apply for an MPower loan, because given the market conditions, you don't really know what will your interest rate be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. What the rate that I started off with my education right now, it's a little higher than that based on the market condition. And I could not take an MPower loan actually during my education because MPower used to fund up to 50,000 at that time, and I required slightly higher than that. So I went with a traditional lender, and I could very well offer that experience to people as well if they want to. I'm truly someone who's known MPower product and has taken other lender, so he's gone through the journey and knows exactly what are the pain points and exactly how can MPower help in those aspects too. There are no forex fees. There are no foreign exchange fees that you have to pay in order to get your money from your home country to the school. There's no upfront fees to be paid for the loan. There's no application fees. There's no processing fees, no prepayment fees, as I already mentioned. There are no insurance fees. Some lenders even ask you to get the sum insured so that if something happens to the borrower, the loan at least is insured and it could be recovered through that. And the borrower has to pay the insurance premium on that too. And then there is no disbursement fee. We disburse without taking any charge from you, without any cost. It would be funded directly to the school. And lastly, loan not impacted by currency depreciation. Because we fund directly to the school, our loans go in the currency of the school. So you don't really have to worry about exactly what is your loan amount equivalent to. If you applied for a $50,000 loan, it will remain $50,000 loan no matter how your home country currency is performing as compared to dollars. It's going to be very simple. You apply $50,000 loan, it's going to be parked for you to be funded for your education. Simple as that. But I want to take a little bit of time and talk about why fixed interest rates are better than the variable interest rates, right? Almost every lender out there who fund international education offers a variable rate interest. Now, what that means is that at the interest rate at which the lender raises the money from the market or from any other investor, it passes on the risk of the market to the borrower as well. What it means that if today the interest rate for the lender increases, the interest rate for the borrower would increase too. So if you started a loan at 10%, and by the time the market conditions deteriorated, and now the lender is raising the money at more than 1%, like higher than what they did, as a borrower, you would have to pay 1%. It's very much possible that the lender would transfer all the risk to the borrower, and then your interest rate would get elevated by 1% as well, which is not the case with MPower. We absorb any risk out there that's in the market. Your interest rate remains fixed for life. It would never, ever increase. We do offer a small discount, so what it means is that it can always come down from 12.99 to 12.74. but it would never increase from 12.99 to anything at all out there, right? And I would really encourage you to do that research about what are the interest rates offered by other lenders out there, how likely are they to change, how are these variable rates subjected to different aspects around the market, and what exactly makes that change for them, right? I would love for you to do that research. And then if there are any questions about fixed rate and variable rates, I'm very open to answer those questions as well. And what it helps doing for you is that it helps you plan your life a little better, because you know that your interest rates are not going to change throughout the life. You can plan your monthly installments a lot easier. You know exactly how much money you're going to need every month for the next 10 years. You can totally pay more than that if you want to, but you know that you wouldn't need anything more than that as well. You're totally fine with paying that amount, which would be set for life, and you're good to go. In variable rate of interest, these things are not so set in stone. These things could change depending upon the way market is behaving. And if you're paying $300 a month today, you can be paying very easily $400 next month as well, based on the market conditions and on the way they perform, right? Now, we discussed a little bit about the MPower product, why we were born, why we were created, what purpose are we serving for international students. Let's go over a little bit about the process of application. It starts, as I mentioned, with an eligibility check, a small one at our online application. You can totally reach out to Catalyst Gem and they'll help you with the application process as well. They'll send you a link. You can go over that link and apply for an MPower loan. Start with that. Once you know that you're eligible for the MPower loan, start the application. It would take about 30 to 45 minutes, depending upon the profile and how fast you are with the internet connection to complete that. Once you have done the application, you would receive an instant offer and a conditional offer in your dashboard. Once you have received that, you upload the documents that have been set for you based on the profile that you have. And it's going to be a very simple uploading process. You upload it either in the form of an image or a PDF or a document based on the document that you are submitting. Once the team has reviewed your documents, they'll issue a decision in the next 3 to 5 business days. And based on the decision, if it's an approval, we then reach out to the school. Now, this process, the school certification process, is a process that takes place between us and the school. The students don't really have to worry about that process. And as you can see, the timeline is slightly diverse. Not every school is able to comply with a 2-week timeline. And because this process is fairly dependent on the school's timeline, where are they entertaining such requests from the lenders to us to answer exactly how much funds would the students require. We do want to check with the school as well. So what if you have, as a student, you have missed out on putting up an expense? It makes sense for us to go to your school and actually get it certified. Okay, this is the breakup of the expenses this particular student has mentioned for this education, for this program at your school. Would you confirm or deny or let us know if something else has to be done or something else has to be changed within this particular request? School reaches out, let us know that if this is the right structure, or if something has to be reduced, something has to be increased, something has to be changed. And it also offers us a schedule of payments as well, when this fund has to be disbursed. Once we know all of that, if there has to be a change, we let the students know. And nothing changed, nothing remains changed. If nothing gets changed, we just confirm the loan with the student, get it signed by them, and we just wait for the right day to disburse the loan to the school. Simple as that, right? In addition to offering a loan, I also mentioned that I want to cover a little bit about how MPower tries to help students beyond financing option. And it's a very simple, intuitive thing. As a lender, we know that we can be successful only when our students are successful, right? We can be successful when our loans are repaid, and they can only be repaid when our students are in awesome jobs and the jobs that they want to do. And in order to get that, we want to make sure that the students are prepared for that kind of a job search as well, right? Because job search in the US or in Canada are quite different than our home countries. As an international student, I definitely realized that, despite the fact that I was working in this industry. Once I came here, it was definitely a bit of a shock, a bit of a adaptation required as to how would I find jobs here in the US, right? So if I need to get some resume reviewed, a resume is slightly different format in the US. The job search is a lot different as well. There are other aspects of the cultural shock that comes into play, a lot of aspect of the coaching that comes into play as well. You might not need everything in the professional development aspect. You might require a bit of a coaching to understand how things work in the US, to understand how immigration works in the US, I understand how what are my options for immigration as well. If do I go for an H-1B option? Should I go for an L1 option? Should I go for an O1 option? As an international student, what are the options out there for me in the US or in Canada? We definitely want to make sure that you know about them. And if there is something we can do to help you connect you with the right person, we do that as well. We have a few partners. We want to definitely, make sure that you're given every information that you need to succeed in the US and in Canada. And this program that we mentioned is called Path to Success. I would encourage all of you to go online, have a look at this program. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team, or I can always share my email address. Feel free to reach out to me as well, or to Catalyst GM team. They can answer our questions about MPower Loan product as well. And lastly, something that's not a lot of people know, but we do offer scholarships as well. These scholarships are all year round, and you don't really need an MPower loan to apply for the scholarship. All you need is, if you are admitted to one of the supported schools in our list, you can totally apply for an MPower scholarship. There's a Global Citizen Scholarship. There's a scholarship just for MBA. There's a women-specific scholarship for women who are in STEM. And then there are monthly scholarship options as well for anybody to apply for a small amount. They might not cover your entire cost of education, but I believe something is better than nothing. I did not get a scholarship that covered the entire cost of education. I got a scholarship from school. It was substantial, but it definitely helped me manage my expenses better. It definitely loosened the burden that I had of taking an international education and ensuring that, okay, I can still make this work and I don't really have to take that much debt. I mean, we don't really celebrate debt, but I mean, you would do anything to reduce that aspect of your international education. So I would encourage you to apply for these free scholarships, even if you don't want to apply for that loan. If you get one, awesome. You have to apply for $10,000 less for an international student loan. And that's you're going to thank your stars 2 years from then when you have to repay that loan, that thank God I got the scholarship, and eventually have to pay $10,000 or less, because then you have to pay interest on that $10,000 as well. Feel free to apply for the scholarship. If you want, we can actually share those links in the chat as well if it's needed, or I think this recording for this webinar will be provided as well. You can totally access the link from there as well, not a problem. But with this, I come to an end for what I wanted to say about MPower, and I would love to now answer what you want me to answer about MPower. Tamika, do we have any questions that needs to be answered?
Hi, Arbaz, thanks so much. Yes, so everyone, if you can direct yourself to the bottom of your Zoom call, you should see two sections. There's a Q&A section and there's a chat section there. You can send your questions either way. The first question here, we're going to go over them out loud, everyone. So the first question that I'm seeing here is just clarification on going to the visa interview. So the question here, it says, will the MPower support letter guarantee that a visa is issued by the US consulate? So I'll allow both of us to answer. From Catalyst GEM, because we provide visa training, we would advise you that nothing and nobody can guarantee you a visa at the US consulate, but things like this will help you with the visa officer while you're at your visa appointment. And Arbaz, if you would like to add anything onto that, or
I totally want to echo what you said, Tamika. Definitely that it's a visa approval depends on so many different options. I got rejected twice on a US visa, so I know it depends on just more than and it was a B1, B2, not even an F1. What you can think of this particular visa support letter as a proof that you have the necessary funds to cover education, because more often than not, one of the questions that are asked in the visa interview is, how are you supporting your education? How are you funding your education? How are you financing your education? And it's always important to have different sources, like proper proof about those sources as well, in case the interviewer wants to know. And that is when these visa supporters actually come of a lot of help, because when you talk a little bit about, and it might not really help your case if you say, I mean, might or might not, that hey, it's a US company which has funded my education or given me a loan, but it wouldn't hurt your chances to actually mention our name in that, and at the same time talk about the visa support letter, because the interviewer is looking at just like more than just your the visa support letter and your funding option. They look at your profile as a whole and then give an answer as to if they want to approve or reject.
Yes, excellent, Arbaz. Thank you for adding on to that. The next question coming in is again for you, Arbaz. Can a student make an MPower loan application to 2 different schools?
Yes, totally. So if you notice that we do mention that our eligibility criteria actually had yes. So you could be applying, accepted, or enrolled. So you could be applying to multiple schools. You could have been accepted by multiple schools, and you want to start your application from multiple schools as well. That's totally cool. And you want to check that, okay, I have been admitted by 2 different schools. Where can I get the most funding so I can then take a decision? That's totally cool with us as well. It makes sense for you to do that.
Excellent, Arbaz. Thank you again. Okay, and I did see here that Daniel has sent into the chat the link, so you can actually click the link that he sent to view more information about MPower, everyone. So I just wanted to point that out. The next question here is, Arbaz, I'll shoot it over to you. Does the MPower loan cover the cost of visa and flight tickets for a student?
No. So why it doesn't happen is because our credit algorithm requires the student to be in the US when we disburse the loan. So all of these things happen before they come to the US. That's why we can't really fund all those things as well.
Excellent, Arbaz. So this next question is kind of answered with the last one. The question is, can the acceptance fee be paid with the MPower loan? And as Arbaz just said, the loan is really distributed after you arrive on campus and you enroll. So any fees before that would be covered by you, the student.
However, because this is a fee that is invoiced directly to the school, if this is something that they have paid in the last semester, this could be covered technically, because they could say that is a past semester expense and could be done with it. And this is something that for this invoice would be given to them, so not a problem, could be done. If they paid $22,000 for an acceptance fee, that could be covered as well. I'm really sorry if that got confusing a little bit with my answer, but an acceptance fee to the school could be covered because it's technically still adjusted in the semester fees, right? Mm-hmm. The way these acceptance fee work is that if you pay $2,000 today, these $2,000 would be deducted from your overall semester fee when you pay for that. So technically it's still semester fee only, and you can get that money.
Excellent. Thank you, Arbaz, for adding that on.
You still have to pay that beforehand, mm-hmm. and we would reimburse you for that. That's the thing that can happen.
Okay, perfect. So this next question is going to be a 2-part question. So the question is, the student wants to study cybersecurity as a graduate certificate, and they want to know if it's offered and can they get an MPower loan for that. So as far as in the Catalyst GEM side, we do offer cybersecurity at the graduate level, so you can definitely apply for that program through Catalyst GEM. In regards to it being a certificate, Arbaz, would you like to go ahead and add on to that?
Well, if did I hear it right? Is this graduate certificate program?
Yep, that's correct.
So we only fund degree-seeking programs. So unfortunately, as of now, we don't cover certificate programs.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So the next question here. The question is, can an MPower loan cover my full tuition and expenses?
Yes. If the full tuition expenses is within $100,000, we can do that.
Excellent. All right. The next one again, the student says it's for you, Arbaz. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it out. What if someone doesn't have a backup fund to show in their account? Does MPower support letter, can it work in their case if they don't have any personal funds?
So I'm assuming the backup fund is like what you need like after an MPower loan or something that's at least is it supplementary? Is it a backup fund? If it's a supplementary thing, we would need, like, for example, you need $80,000 for education. You're taking a $60,000 loan from us, but you're saying that, okay, I can do $20,000 on my own. So if you're talking about that, we would definitely need that to approve your loan, because we want to see how exactly you're trying to cover your education. But what if you're saying that, okay, I have a $80,000 cost of education and I got an $80,000 loan from MPower, you don't really need any backup funding option then. If your total cost is $80,000 and you got an $80,000 loan, it's good. It's good. Totally cool.
Perfect, Arbaz. Thanks so much. Next one is for you again. Are there any limitations for student loans in the US related to a Russian citizen due to the political situation going on right now?
No, as of now, no, nothing. Feel free to go ahead and apply.
Okay, perfect. Again, next one for you. Can someone apply for an MPower loan for a particular school and then later change the school before they enroll?
No, that can't happen. So because our algorithm is very student focused, what it does is it calculates everything that the student has entered about their education, their plan, their funding option, everything at all, and the program that they're going to. and then it outputs a future income potential for the student, right? And that income potential changes on the school and the program that they're going to. So if they change the school, the entire credit algorithm changes and their income potential changes too. So we have to reevaluate everything then. That's why.
Okay.
It's
Perfect.
always, we don't mind they applying for like starting application with 2 different schools, not a problem. I would encourage you to do that so that you have enough information of which way to go.
Excellent. Okay, this next question is, can the MPower loan cover dependent expenses?
As of now, no. We only cover borrower specific expenses.
All right, and then the next one, pretty simple question. Does the MPower loan cover accommodations for a student?
Yes. I mean, the way it works is we fund directly to the school, and the school, whatever the additional amount is, the school can then either issue a check to the student or they can just directly deposit into the account and students can use that fund.
Perfect. All right, this next question is for our side. The student is asking, how can they determine which schools are offering the MPower loan? So when you log into your portal and you go to your program search, on the left-hand side in the filter section, you will see that it is approved for a loan. If you check off that little box, it'll only show you the MPower schools and the ones that you can choose from to apply for the MPower loan. Next question, Arbaz, is can you go over how the MPower loan would work in an undergraduate student's criteria?
We do fund undergraduate programs, but as I mentioned that the eligibility criteria requires for students to be within 2 years of graduation. So what it means is that you can use MPower loan to finance your expenses from the 3rd and the 4th year. And you can certainly apply for an MPower loan before the 3rd year begins. That's true. But it can be used only in the 3rd and the 4th year of your program. So which means that you need to be financing the 1st and 2nd year on your own or through a different loan that you might have taken. So that part needs to be, covered that way.
Excellent. Somebody wants to know if they have applied to a school that's not on the MPower loan list, could MPower still help them?
No, as of now, we can't. We definitely keep these things into account to understand how many students are applying for a loan for that particular university to use that data into a future decision if we want to approve a particular school or not. But as of now, if somebody reaches out and applies for a loan for a school that is not on the list, we would let them know that this is an ineligible application.
Excellent. So the next question is kind of for our side, but Arbaz, feel free to add on if you need to. This is an accepted student who now needs to apply for the MPower loan. Your international enrollment counselor, once you do get accepted to an MPower school, will walk you through the loan process. We have a special link that we will send you so that way you can start your application. And then MPower will as well connect you with somebody who will walk you through the application from their side through each step. Arbaz, anything to add to that?
What exactly? So you can totally take your help with the Catalysm team throughout the process as well. We would also, assign someone to you to help as well from the application process to the time the disbursement happens and even beyond that. So any information that you require about what needs to be put in, what needs to be uploaded, can all be answered by both the teams as well. So you have the benefit of reaching out to 2 teams and getting your questions answered. It's a simple process. I think Daniel has already shared and linked with you. You can just click on that and start the application from that portal as well. Start your eligibility process. And as and when, and it's going to reach out and email you about the details of the loan application, and you can just log in and complete the application from there. But it's a very simple, straightforward process and starts with the link that Daniel has shared with you.
Okay, perfect. Now, this next question we did touch on a bit. The question is additional funding needed if you have an MPower loan and you're going to the visa interview? So from Catalyst Gem's side, we would say that it really depends on the amount of loan that you got. So if your loan covers all of your studies, then that would be what you use to show the funding that you need to study. If your loan does not cover all of your studies and you need to supplement it, then you would also need to submit your personal bank statements, whether it be yours or a sponsor. Arbaz, anything to add to that?
Exactly. I think what you said, I don't think I can answer anything better on that.
Okay, excellent. The next one is for you. Does a student need employment in order to apply for the MPower loan?
No, it does. You don't need an employment, whether past experience or future internship or job offers to apply for an MPower loan. You can totally apply without an experience too.
Great. The next one is, does a student need a co-signer or any collateral if the school is in Canada?
No, even for Canada, all the Canadian schools that are in this list follow the same rule. We just can't fund living expenses in Canada as of now, but for everything else, the eligibility criteria, the support and everything remains the same for Canadian schools as well.
Okay, perfect. The next question is sorry, I just had to read that again. Is there a possibility that a student is eligible but still gets denied for the loan?
Yes, it can. So as I mentioned that the way our algorithm works is that we output our future income potential of the student and then work backwards to see, can this income the student is going to earn help sustain the debt that they are asking for? And if we find the answer to be no, because they cannot sustain the debt that they have based on this income, we would definitely end up rejecting them. And we don't want anybody to have unsustainable debt. We don't want to add to that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Arbaz. The next one here is, well, the question is there a percentage of students that get approved for the loan versus denied?
Well, there's no clear percentage that I could say that, okay, you know what, out of the 10 people, 8 will get approved, or 9 will get approved, or 4 will get approved. It definitely depends on the profile. And every profile is quite different for that matter. Like if a person going for a STEM in Northeastern would be very different from someone who's going to Johns Hopkins University for a public health program. And the way they would be evaluated would be very different, because what we look at is the future potential of the field that you're studying as well. And that also kind of outputs a certain factor in our future income potential, how likely this field is going to get popular in the future to actually give that much income. So there's no proper percentage that I can offer you, but I can totally mention this, that we look at your future potential, the way the program that you're going to, the school that you're going to, how likely it is that you're going to earn a decent amount after graduation. If your school is ranked well, it's definitely going to add up. If you have a 3-year OPT, it might definitely help because you get to stay in the US and earn in the US as well. But for that time, and at the same time, what is your academic history? Is there a proper connection between what you studied in undergrad with what you worked and what you're going to study in the US now? If there is a proper connection, it definitely helps your case. So there are, as you can see, there's some qualitative aspect and some quantitative aspect as well in this. And the team looks at it, all of those things, as a whole comprehensive. So I don't think it would be fair for me to give you a percentage and give you any sort of a false or very good hope or any intimidate you that, oh, you won't get approved. I think I would encourage you to apply, because every profile is looked at differently. There's no pre-qualification process that anybody who goes to this program would get approved or rejected. Apply, I would recommend.
Okay, got it. Thanks so much for that. Okay, a few more questions here. The next one, when will a student start paying for the loan after the application is completed and they are enrolled in their school?
Excellent question. So our loan program requires students to pay interest-only payments during the course of the program. So I'll take an example here. A student is going for a 2-year master's program in the US. They take a loan for the entire 2 years. They make interest-only payments for the duration of the program plus 6 months after that. And then after the 2.5 years, the principal amount kicks in for the next 10 years. So the total term gets to be 12.5 years. And the way it works is interest-only payments for the duration of the program plus 6 months plus interest plus principal. That's how it works.
Okay, great. Now this next one I think we'll answer from our side, but Arbaz, again, feel free to add on anything that you'd like. The question is kind of a play on a previous question about dependents being funded by MPower. This student is asking if they can provide additional funds for their dependent. So with the MPower loan, you can use that to pay all of your expenses, the student, but you would need additional funds if you intended to bring a dependent. So those cases, you would supply your bank statement or sponsors to show that your dependents will have their own funding, and the MPower would show your personal funding. So it'd kind of be 2 parts there. Arbaz, do you want to add anything on?
No, that's pretty much covers it all. Yeah. Okay,
perfect. Great. This next question is in regards to next steps and what to do next. So depending on where you are in the process is what will be your next steps. If you haven't decided on a school, you can log into your platform. You can go to the program search. Again, there is a little checkbox that you can check off that would tell you just the MPower schools. That would be the first step, is really determining which school you want to go to, and that program search will help you do that. You can also speak with your international enrollment specialist to kind of walk you through these steps one-on-one if you'd like, instead of just doing it on your own. From there, once you get your offer letter, you will then look more into applying for your MPower loan and going through those steps after that. But that first initial step is really to nail down which schools and where specifically you want to study. All right, just reading the next question. This one was asked previously, so I'll just go ahead and answer again for our boss. Is can you apply to 2 different schools with the MPower loan? And the answer was yes to that. Our boss, did you want to go into more details?
I know. I think I already covered that you can totally apply for as many schools as you want. There's no limit to the number of school applications that you want to start with, but it will just get a little difficult to handle all those applications. That's the only concern I have. But feel free to start the application with the schools that you've applied to or have received the admit from as well.
Excellent. The next question is, Arbaz, can you go over the documents that may be needed to apply for the MPower loan? Is there any general documents or then any supplementals that are asked?
Well, there are definitely identity-specific documents that you would need, your passport. Definitely, that's going to be the case. There are also going to be your educational documents, which would be your past education, your transcripts, your undergrad degree, anything that you have on a show from that aspect, from that part of the life as well. Then your future educational documents, the admit letter, the fee structure that you want to show that, okay, this is the fee structure from my program. Then any sort of a test course that you might have, your TOEFL, IELTS, GRE, GMAT, anything that you have taken, PTE, Duolingo, whatever you might have done. Then there might be a little bit about your financial plan. If you want to supplement part of your education through, MPower, and then part of it gets supplemented through your own funds, then you need to show exactly where the funds are coming from. So as Tamika mentioned, your bank statement from your bank account or from your sponsor's bank account, showing the funds that are required to cover the education. Anything else that might be required on top of that would be a profile specific, if I'm not wrong. And would be communicated to the student as and when it's decided by the credit team that, okay, we will be needing something like this as well. So that would be I think in a nutshell, what would be the required documents. That would be true in every case. And if you have any work experience, then yeah, your pay stubs might be required too, just to see how much income did you make for your education. That might be it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Following what you were just speaking on, the next question is IELTS compulsory? I do believe the answer is no, and it would be based on where the student comes from and the school they're going to, and if IELTS is required from the school itself. But as far as an MPower, it would not be required, correct?
Yes. So if even if it's required and the school has given them an acceptance and let them know that we have given a waiver for this, they can just show us the waiver and we'd be fine with it. Not a problem.
Great. This next question is, does studying a STEM program increase the chances of getting an MPower loan?
It does, in a way where it offers you a 3-year OPT. So what it means is that the amount of money that you can make in the next 3 years is a lot higher than what you would do in a 1-year OPT, right? And that kind of helps your case in being able to repay that loan a lot earlier than if you would have taken a 1-year OPT. So in that sense, yes. Plus the whole idea of a field being into STEM and the potential that it has, that also kind of gets calculated into it. If you're going to computer science, how well is computer science going to be doing in the next 2 years? We do take into market research data as well, while taking those decisions. So computer science industry, how's it going to be done? Tech right now isn't doing very well, but then at the same time, the way we look at it is, okay, in the next 2 years, how is good tech going to do? Can we trust tech to be offering jobs to people or not? At the same time, if you have something that's very medical specific, healthcare, public health, if you have a field that's very much in demand, it's going to help your case totally, because then we know that there are going to be ample jobs in this field. If you are into AI is a big boom because of ChatGPT right now. And if you're doing anything in AI, it will definitely help your chances. Yeah.
Great. Okay. The next question here, does the MPower loan differ in any way depending on which country you go to? I know earlier you mentioned that in Canada, it wouldn't cover housing costs. Is there anything else?
Well, So one of the things that goes with us is that, as I mentioned earlier, that our credit algorithm requires the students to be in the destination country for the funds to be disbursed, right? For Canada, there is a particular visa scheme that's called SDS. It involves paying for part of your education beforehand, right? Through and parking some amount in a bank and getting a GIC, Graduate Investment Certificate. That part is not something that we can do because it technically happens before even the visa is issued to the student, right? And because of that, first of all, who pays the interest on that funded loan amount? Because it goes directly to the bank. And if in any case, the visa doesn't get approved, whose responsibility is it to give it back to MPower? Is it the bank? Is it the student who takes liability of it? And that's why we can only fund in US as it goes. It's pretty much what I just talked about. In Canada, we can't fund living expenses as now, and we can't fund the SDS visa scheme, but we can fund the normal one if the student is going through that. And I think SDS is valid only for a few countries who like citizens of a few countries only, but it still might affect some of our attendees today. So just want to make sure that you guys know that we can't support the SDS visa scheme, but if you're going to apply for a visa through a normal one, we can totally look into that and cover that aspect. Yeah.
That's great. And I do just want to mention, I see that the questions are winding down. So if you do have any questions that you're thinking about in your head, please go ahead and send them over in the question and answer or in the webinar chat so we can answer them live. Arbaz, the next question is for you. What do the monthly payments look like once a student does get their loan and starts at school?
Well, it's a very fairly simple, calculation. As I mentioned that in the first, and it depends on the loan amount that you have. So we fund from $2,000, $2,001 to $100,000. And so if you're taking the minimal amount loan, the interest remains fixed, right? It's going to be 12.99%. So 12.99% on that particular disbursed amount, whatever the amount you have taken so far, the interest, it's a simple calculation, but the interest amount comes out to be, you just pay that. That's it. And you were already going to know everything before even accepting the loan offer. Once you receive the approval, it will tell you for the first duration of the program plus 6 months, this is going to be your payment. Then for the next 10 years, this is going to be your payment. So don't worry about it that you would not know how much you have to pay. And you can totally cancel the application if you think that, oh, this payment coming out to be too much. I don't think I'm ready to make that much payment during my loan application. Totally cool with canceling the loan process as well. But I think it's a fairly simple calculation, but it depends on the loan amount that you have approved and disbursed. Simple.
Okay, excellent. The next question is for you, Arbaz. If a student gets a loan and they go to study and they start studying and the loan covers all of their, their expenses, tuition, living, and things of that nature, and then there is a balance left over, what happens to that balance?
We normally try to avoid doing that. But if the balance is there and the student hasn't availed that much, it just stays there because the student pays the interest on the disbursed amount, not an approved amount.
Excellent. All right. So that does look like the last question that we got in. So if there are any more questions, we'll give it a minute. Arbaz, is there anything else that maybe you want to address while we're on?
I want to say that, as an international student, what I can offer you, despite being in the sector for about 5 years and trying to go through my own journey, I would say that there were a lot of surprises even for me. And even my introduction had that sentence of enabling thousands of international student experiences. And even after doing all of that, and I still faced a lot of struggles. I still was surprised at times and shocked at other times about the certain elements of the process as well. And what I can offer as an advice on this is that start early, whichever way you want to go, and prepare well. Like you should know the why of why you're doing this. It's really important, and it's going to push you when things are not going your way, because there are multiple sequential things that you need to take into account. Your test scores. You will start with the test, then you start with the application, you get an admit, and you start your funding option. After the funding has come, you want to make sure that the visa is in place, and the visa after that it's flight, and then the classes. There is no time to take a moment and breathe. So it would really help if you start the process early on, and it definitely helps to have champions like Catalyst Gem who are rooting for you and actually offering you support to excel in this process, make sure that if there is assistance coming your way, you take it. It would definitely be helpful. Yeah. Is there any other question that came?
Actually, those were the last questions. I don't see any more coming in, you guys. Again, please keep in mind that this session was recorded. We will send you a copy after via email, so you'll be able to look back over it again. Also, again, take note of the link that Daniel sent in the chat. If you want to click that link, it will take you to more information about MPower. That link will also be included in the email that we send afterwards. I don't have anything else to add. Arbaz, I think you just kind of said your closing, but if you'd like to add anything else on.
I know, but just want to thank the team and thank everybody who was here today with us for this conversation. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think I got a good revision of everything about MPower as well. And you guys grilled me really hard. Thank you so much for asking all these important, interesting questions. And I hope I helped.
Yes, thanks so much, Arbaz, for being our guest today. We do hope to do this again soon. And everyone, thank you again for jumping on with us today and taking the time to speak with us. Also, if you have any questions, you can reach out to your international enrollment counselor. That is another option for you as well. And then you do see the MPower email on screen, so you can jot that down. And there are a lot of different people that you can reach out to help you get through this process. Again, I just want everyone to be reassured that you're not in this alone. We are with you from start to finish, whether it's our side or MPower side. You do not have to, get lost in this process. We will be here for you.
Very well said. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much again. You guys have a great day, everyone.